Jose, understanding the disappointment of last night, just what's the confidence level this team has right now?
It's really high. Like you say, disappointing loss last night, but still coming to fight today, trying to get the win.
Understanding that you're on the bench today and you may play a big part of today's game, what's it like being around Max Fried and watching him work?
It's one of the best. How he carries himself, how he prepares for the games, how he understands the game. It's amazing to play behind him, to see him deliver, to see him compete out there. And we're pretty confident winning.
Questions for Jose? Brian, to you, right,
Jose, how would you describe what it's been like to play for the Yankees? What have you learned since coming over here?
It's a good question. The winning mentality, the mentality that everyone carries. Every game matters. That's something that is really special. Also, just learning a lot from this group of guys that they are really together in the clubhouse, and that's something special. That everyone's trying to help everyone, and it doesn't matter who you are. They're still trying to help. They're still trying to get the best out of you.
When was the first time you noticed that the clubhouse was really
Right
close?
away, right, the first, second day. That's whenever I got traded. The first day I met kind of everyone, and it was just like, oh, this is special.
David in the second row.
I'm going to ask this in English and Spanish. Yesterday, Aaron Boone was talking about the additions that made the Yankees, in his mind, a more complete team. Obviously, you're part of that. How do you feel about being a significant part of those additions and making them a more complete team? Ayer, Aaron Boone dijo que con las adiciones de la fecha límite de cambios es un equipo más completo. Tú eres gran parte de eso. ¿Tú has visto eso y cómo te sientes siendo parte de ese equipo tan completo?
Okay, first of all, question for you. You want me to answer this in English or in Spanish?
Can you do both?
I can do both, let's say. It feels really good to fit in a group with so many stars, so many good players that are being proved in the league. And just being here is something that I take pride of. Just because of being in this group is such an honor for me. And I mean, it's a complete team. I mean, I just add a little more speed. That's pretty much it. That's what I can see. But this team is just amazing, and I'm really proud to be here and to be around this group of guys. In Spanish, I would say, para mí es muy especial, ¿no? Estar aquí con este equipo tan grandioso que tenemos, con tantas superestrellas que están dentro de este equipo, y se siente bien, ¿no? Que te incluyan y te hagan sentir parte te hagan sentir parte especial de un grupo con tanto talento como el que tenemos. Entonces me siento muy orgulloso por eso, muy orgulloso de estar compartiendo clubhouse con estas superestrellas y formar parte de este equipo y también tener un rol importante.
Third row, Jose. Chris?
Jose, what have you thought of the way Volpe has played both offensively and defensively over these past few weeks now?
He's great. I'm really happy for him. He was having a bad stretch, so he coming in the postseason and deliver the way he's delivering is really, really good for the team, really good for him. It gets his confidence level up, and we all need that. We need him at his best capacity to try to help the team.
Same row, Jose. John?
You mentioned the winning mentality. It's obviously easy to see that when the team wins, but how does that represent itself, or manifest itself after a loss, whether it was the Boston loss in Game 1 or last night? How do you feel like that mentality kind of helps turn the page? In what ways does it do it?
Well, that's when it comes the most, is whenever we lose. And you could see that in the past series. We lost the first game, and we faced 2 elimination games right away. And you see how the winning mentality came out, you know. And I think, like I say, I think is whenever it's winning, it's easy to say, like you say. But whenever we lose, is when we get it out of ourselves, and you can really see it. A bunch of dogs competing out there.
Other questions? John? Yeah.
Where's that come from? Is that Aaron? Is that Boone? Where do you think that starts?
I feel like it's just a group of guys. I think the union that we have, like I say, everyone is trying to help everyone, and everyone is trying to do their best for the team. That's what I can see, you know.
Brendan?
What's something you learned about Aaron Judge since you started playing with him just a couple months ago?
Well, first of all, I think it's how good of a person he is outside of what you guys see. I think that's tells me a lot about him. Teach me a lot. Just the way that he go about things, the way that he prepare himself, the way that he thinks, the ways that it's so many things that he does well, and it's amazing.
Other questions for Jose? All right, Jose, thank you so much for coming in. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Aaron, with your team having never faced him before, what type of a challenge do you think Savage is going to be this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, obviously first rounder last year and kind of rifled through their system this year. So he looks tough. I mean, he looks good. He's obviously had some success here to start out his big league career. Kind of a unique delivery, over the top, downhill. Obviously a very good split fingered. So and typically tough on lefties, and obviously we run a lot of those out there. So important for us to go out and control the strike zone and hopefully take advantage of some pitches we get to hit.
You mentioned the fact that he's tough on lefties. Any consideration to Goldschmidt at first base?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I definitely deliberated on that a little while. But, also, trust in Benny's ability to control the strike zone and obviously impact the ball. And so I did, but ultimately settle on Benny again today.
one row behind, John.
Jose Caballero was just in here, and he talked about the team's winning mentality and how it shows itself after wins and after losses. From your perspective, how does that manifest itself, and how important is that in what you did against Boston, what you need to do now?
Yeah, look, I think it's an important trait to have in Major League Baseball for a team. Like you got to be able to handle the good and the bad and everything in between. And that shows itself all year. Like times when you go through adversity where you're struggling, you've got to be able to handle it and not crumble and stay the course and make necessary adjustments and things like that. But you also can't ride the roller coaster, especially getting now in the playoffs where everything, is so, obviously you're playing for everything and everything's on the line and every play is so important. You got to keep moving. You've got to, every loss in the playoffs is, feels gut wrenching and, but you gotta be able to get past that. I feel like that's something, we've been good at here for, really the last couple years, and it's a testament to I think the leadership in our room, the Judges and Stantons and Coles and Freeds of the world that set the right kind of tone and try and keep that same kind of neutral environment as much as you can, through the ups and downs of the season, through the ups and downs of a postseason.
No questions for Aaron? We'll go to Jorge in the corner.
Aaron Judge yesterday his throw was at around 90 miles an hour. How encouraging was that, and how have you seen him in right field over the last week or two?
Yeah, good. I feel like it's steadily gotten better. I know even talking with him after how having to get rid of a couple throws yesterday, he said he felt good. And that's different than 4 weeks ago. And so hopefully we continue to make steady improvements out there while also just being smart and but I think he's done a great job out there. So but good to see. There's been a handful he's had to let go a little bit, and he has.
One row ahead on your left.
Aaron, Max Fried has had some really, really dominant starts against the Blue Jays this year, and then some tougher ones in the middle of the season. What was the thing that allowed him to dominate them when he did pitch well at the beginning and end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a little bit reflective of his season too. So when he faced, the Jays at different times, he really had a season. 6 months where, 4.5, 5 months of that was the highest caliber. Like that Cy Young kind of in that conversation season. He had that stretch whenever it was where I'm sure the Blue Jays were in one of those starts at least where, I had 6 or 7 starts when he was just off a little bit and just, went through it a little bit. So I think the biggest thing is one of his biggest strengths is his arsenal, the vastness of it, the many different weapons he has to in any given outing to beat you and to be successful. I think he's gotten back to that once he went through that stretch where, he's probably a little more predictable, leaning on one or two things a little too much, like having a presence with everything on any given outing is critical for him, and he's done a really good job with that here the last, month and a half.
Hi, Aaron. You've talked in the past position about striking the balance between striking the process and reacting in the game. After that loss yesterday, how hard is that balance for tonight?
It's who we are, man, what we do. I expect us to go out and play well today, and, that we want to win the day, and that's been the mindset of this team. I feel like, especially the final 2 months of the season where we've really started to play well after going through a period of time in the middle of the season where we really struggled. The mindset's been excellent. The focus has been there. The caliber of play has been there, and you're gonna have losses along the way. You got to be able to bounce back from them, especially now. And whatever happens today, win or lose, I expect we'll be ready to go and put our best foot forward.
Carlos, is there one particular thing about this Blue Jays lineup that makes them a different challenge than other lineups you see during the course of the year? One thing everyone always mentions is that they just don't strike out as much.
There's not a lot of miss. They're tough to strike out. They force action. They put the ball in play. They make teams play defense. They're pretty athletic. There's also slug within the lineup, and it makes it tough. There's at times where you need to strike out, and just the miss isn't there. And they seem to have a really good understanding of the zone as well. So the chase is low, and there's not much miss. So they have a good idea of what they want to do at the plate.
Change your approach at all?
Not much. Obviously just trying to rely on some weak contact and force him to hit the ball, and hopefully it's weak contact.
Other questions for Carlos? We'll go John and then Greg.
You and Max obviously both have had tremendous success. What do you think you've picked up from him this year, and what do you think he might have picked up from you in watching you?
Yeah, Max has had a pretty tremendous first year as a Yankee. As you know, can be a challenge. He's been incredible. Max doesn't really rely on the strikeout. So I guess one thing from him, and since I guess it's a good segue here, facing the Blue Jays, they don't have a lot of miss and they make a lot of contact. I just know that, throughout my career, I've always chased the strikeout, and that's how I've pitched. And just watching Max rely on weak contact and get early outs and go deeper into games is just kind of one thing that I've taken from him is, if we can get a 2-pitch out or, not make this a 7-pitch at bat, it's better to force contact and let the defense do the work for you.
Third row on your left, Greg.
I was going to ask, I know you and Max have different arsenals, but pitching the game after him, or is there anything you, like today, you'll watch?
I'll just watch, I'm going to watch, how they're aggressive and just how they take at bats off them. We're not far off, but we're definitely not the same. And we feature a couple different things and, just get an idea of how they approach him.
Other questions for Carlos? Eric?
How different is pitching in Yankee Stadium in the playoffs compared to the regular season?
A lot. A lot. It's a lot louder. I can't say there's more people because it seems like we're always sold out, but I guess we're at max capacity during the playoffs. So I'm sure we stuff in the extra 1,000 that we can somewhere. We find places for them. But it's just the energy is a lot. It's a lot more heightened, and it's really fun. It's a treat to be able to step on the mound in Yankee Stadium during the playoffs.
Questions for Carlos? Anything else? All right, Carlos, thanks so much for your time.